Hello, today is May 18th and I just wanted to give a quick little update on the heirloom tomatoes. They're still growing, still producing. I think the past couple of weeks have probably been the peak, and I expect they're probably going to start winding down a little bit now. I have a ton of them on my kitchen counter right now. Really, I have an entire counter that's just filled with tomatoes, and I've been having to give them away. I can't possibly use them all. So what you see here is just a tiny fraction of what I've got. So they've produced really well for me, and there's still some that are producing. But we've started having a lot of rain, a little bit early. Usually the rain doesn't get going until June, and it's in the middle of May or early May. We already started getting some pretty big rainstorms, and that seems to be the cause of this. The plants are getting more diseased leaves. I keep saying I'm gonna come out here and trim all of these diseased leaves off, which I am about to do, but I haven't done it yet. So the diseases are just kind of spreading with the wet, humid weather we've had and the rain. Like this plant here really isn't too happy. A few of the ones here have a lot of damaged leaves and need to be cut off. But actually, surprisingly, I've cut a lot of leaves off of these couple of plants, and I was thinking that the plants were probably gonna not make it, or just not live very long or not do very well. But I've been surprised that they're actually still growing really good up here. So once I cut the leaves off, they just kept growing taller, and they are still producing up at the top, even though the bottom is bare. Same with this one, it's hanging on, and this one too. It's kind of, you can see some diseased leaves down here, and I cut a lot off down at the bottom. But when you go up higher, right here, it's still doing all right. It's still alive, and it looks like it's going to produce some more tomatoes. But you can see there's a lot of damaged leaves out here that need to be removed, and I think it's just, it's that time of year. The heat is really setting in, the bugs are really setting in, and then now we've got the rain on top of it. The moisture is just causing the fungal diseases to run rampant. So, and then these two right here that are next to each other keep falling over, and I think that's not helping either, because they're laying on top of other leaves, and then the diseases are spreading and they're not getting enough airflow. I was able to set them back up in their cages, but both of these cages fell over a couple of times, and I had left them kind of laying here on top of each other, and they aren't as healthy now after that happened. So one other thing I wanted to mention, the beefsteak. I have two different varieties, or two different companies that I bought beefsteak tomatoes from. And I'm not sure which one's which, but this is one of the beefsteak tomatoes, and it's growing really well and doesn't have much disease on the leaves. It produced like 3 or 4 fruits, and I guess it looks like it's got new buds starting, new flower buds at the top, so maybe it'll give me another harvest. But I was kind of disappointed with how few tomatoes I got off of the one plant. And then this other beefsteak tomato plant is not doing as well. It's not growing nearly as tall, and it's gotten a lot more disease on the leaves. And it also only produced like 3 or 4 tomatoes. So, and the ones on this plant cracked worse than the ones on the other plant. So I've got to figure out which one was which. I haven't tasted either one, so I'm not sure if I'll keep growing either variety, but I wish I had made note of which company each one was from, so I would know which one to plant again if I was gonna, because I don't think this one would really be worth planting again. It didn't produce much, the fruits cracked, and it got pretty susceptible to diseases here. So, and then this next to it is my Brandywine, and it also has a lot of diseased leaves on it. It hasn't been very happy, although it has produced a lot more tomatoes than the beefsteak ones, and it took longer. It's taking longer for them to ripen, and I haven't tried them either. None of them are fully ripe yet, but they're close. So in a few more days here, I'll probably be able to try the beefsteak varieties and the Brandywine and see which ones I prefer, if any of them. And then, let's see, this is my Martino's Roma. It's still doing good. I will say the Mexico Midget, even though it's producing a ton, but I do see that it has a lot of diseased leaves on it, and so does the Cherry Roma next to it. And it may be that all these ones that are next to each other are spreading the disease, because it seems like the ones on this row have it worse, have diseases worse than the ones on the back row. So the ones back here seem healthier, although this one Mexico Midget also does have a fair amount of diseased leaves. But again, it's still producing, and the leaves at the top are still healthy. So I think I just need to cut all the diseased leaves off. But one thing I wanted to mention is when I did my taste tests, this one here, which is the Thessaloniki variety, which is, it's the same as this one. This is the Thessaloniki. I've been really happy with the plant. It's not gotten much disease. It's grown a lot of these medium-sized tomatoes. They're bigger than a cherry tomato, but they're not quite as big as the beefsteak tomatoes. And so I was really excited about this variety, but when I tried it, I wasn't too pleased with the flavor. I thought it was kind of bland. It wasn't a bad flavor, it just kind of tasted like watered down tomato and not super strong tomato flavor. The nice thing about it is that it's not very acidic. I think it doesn't seem like it has a very acidic taste, and for me that's good because I do have acid reflux disease, and tomatoes can cause me a little bit of trouble with acid reflux if I eat too many of them, or I guess some of them probably are higher in acid or have a I don't know, a different balance of acid to sweetness. But these didn't seem very acidic, but I just thought they were too bland. But then when I bought some at the store to compare, and also to see if I liked any of them, I thought maybe I'd save some seeds from the store-bought ones that are grown in Florida because they're probably hardier. Even though I know they're hybrids, I thought maybe if I saved the seeds, they'd still have some of the good traits that the hybrids are bred to have, like disease resistance and stuff. But everybody always talks about how bland and yucky the store-bought tomatoes are, the commercial ones. And sure enough, they were pretty awful. And I tried some of these Thessaloniki ones alongside of the store-bought Florida-grown tomatoes, and compared to those, the Thessaloniki ones are definitely better. They definitely tasted better. So maybe I won't be so quick to discount this variety. I may still, or I will still grow it again because it has been resistant to disease. It's produced really well. I like that it's a low acid taste, but I just wish it had a better, like more robust tomatoey flavor. But like I said, compared to the store-bought ones, it's actually better. So, you know, maybe it is worth growing after all, and I think I'll give it another chance. So I did want to mention that. So I don't know how many more weeks the tomato plants can survive in our Florida weather. I mean, they're still doing okay and holding on right now, but just seeing what that few days of rain did and how much the diseases started to spread when we got rain, I don't know. I don't have high hopes that they're going to last too much longer, but that's pretty much what I figured anyway. I mean, I pretty much plan on my garden being about done at the beginning of June, or pretty much by the end of May. The fungal diseases pretty much take over everything, and there's very few things that can continue to grow in that kind of conditions. So yeah, like this one has it really bad, and I've even seen some marks on the tomatoes themselves, which makes me sad because I really like this tomato. Actually, I don't know, they're doing all right now, but yeah, so I need to get all this dead stuff and this disease stuff off now. And maybe they'll hold on for a few more weeks. It would be nice if they would last another month and keep producing, but maybe a few of them will. Some of my hardier plants might make it through mid-June, maybe even late June, we'll see, but I'm not counting on too many of them surviving the rains when they come, because usually we start getting rain in June, and we got it a little bit early this year. But now we seem to be having a break from the rain again, and everything's kind of bouncing back. But if we get a few weeks of steady rain, I don't know, I think that's just going to wipe everything out. So actually, one other thing I want to say is that I'm surprised I haven't had more trouble with, I probably shouldn't even say this out loud because I'm going to jinx myself, but last year I had lots of army worms invading my tomatoes, and this year I found a few batches in early April, which is when they start, and I got them when they were small, and I haven't seen any more. I'm surprised that my tomatoes don't have more bug damage than they do, so I'm glad. Mostly just dealing with fungal issues and disease issues, maybe bacterial too, I'm not sure. But they're still producing, so I've got more to harvest today. And I guess that's it for now. Have a lovely day.